Welcome back. Today, as I'm continuing on looking at some of the features that I am enjoying in RemNote for the CPTD exam and generally connecting knowledge, today I'm looking at building templates and then also using the automation power-ups. Before we jump into how to do the templates, I'll overview a little bit of why I do them and why I see them as worth the effort. For studying for the CPTD exam, I broke up the knowledge that I wanted to be able to practice, and I wanted to be able to do that for each of the topics. And so this gave me a way to just repeat that and make sure that I was hitting them for each one. For the skills, I wanted to be able to practice what they were, what it focused on. So it was starting with the knowledge, and then it was getting down to the skill by the example. When do I use this, and what's an example of it? For the knowledge, the most important was what are they? And then the others, if I had an answer to those, then I would practice those. And if not, then that was less priority for me. Let's look at breaking up the information. I started off just one template, and I realized that I actually wanted to break up the skills just a little bit different than the knowledge, for example, without the example. And the theory was it talking about just one thing, whereas the skill objectives, usually I was talking about techniques or strategies, and those were plural. So since I would encounter them in flashcards, it made sense to me to break them up this way. I'll give credit to France at eLearning Art for the emphasis that she made at one point about instructional design, that if you make the structural decisions once and early, then you cut down on your time because you don't have to keep revisiting those decisions. And so I feel that that's what this is doing. This is making those decisions of how I'm going to break up the information. And then by making it into a template, I just keep reusing it. Let's move on to looking at how to create them. Once you know how you want to break it up, you can type it out just like this, and you could copy them and paste them into each one of your objective statements. Or we could do them as what RemNote calls automatically added templates. When it's been created as an automatically added template, let me show you an example of what that does. So we have a knowledge statement here. The way that I initially broke this up is to have objective statements. So I'll paste this as plain text from somewhere else, and then I want my template to break up the objective. So the way that I add that template that I already created is 2 hashtags, and then I search for the name that I gave the template, and this is a knowledge objective, so I'll add it in. I can see it's in templates. Click on it, and it filled this out, so I know there's something in it, and I can also hover and see it, and that's how it automatically added it. If it didn't automatically add it, I could just copy and paste them right there, and then I could do colons and then add the knowledge add the answers that I want to. So let's look at the mechanics of how to set that up. Let's say that these skill objectives, that you want to use these skill objectives, or you want to create your own, either way. Let's give it a new name and call it Skill Objectives New. And this is going to be a template. So how do I create it as one of these power-up templates? I do 1 hashtag and then a second hashtag, and I start typing that automatically add template. It has a little arrow by it. Once I click on it, that's the first step. It gets this little arrow up here, but so far there's nothing underneath it, so I have to add the categories that I want to use to break it up. This could be what the knowledge is. Maybe that's the topic. The thing to do here is at the end of each one, I type slash and slot, and then I click to turn it into a slot. Part that's you can double check to make sure that it did it is this right here. Let's do one more and say I want to remember or check my knowledge on one more thing, and let's just say, what is an example? And then I'll do a slot again. Shows as a slot. So the next step is going to be to use this. It's all set and ready to go. So I'm going to collapse some of these and find one that doesn't have anything. Say that I have a objective to list the steps for building a template. So I want to make this my new skill objectives. Then I could type skill, and there it is in templates. So I click it. You can see it filled it in, so there's something in there, and there's that new one that we just created. My understanding is that the automatic part of this is now part of the Pro version. I'm finding having them very helpful for efficiency, so that's why I include them here, even though I don't usually talk about paid features. But the concept of breaking up knowledge and using a framework as a template is what I think is the most useful about this, even if I copy and paste it in, which is what I've done when I've used another program. One of the other tools that I like for efficiency is that RemNote has a clipper where you can include a website, notes from a website imported directly into here. So I'll talk about that next time. See you then.